Hello, everyone. So today we've got Mel K back on, your favorite one. Just
Yes,
before
and
we,
my favorite guy to go on with. How you doing, Nick?
I'm good. I'm very good, thank you. So many interesting things. But just before we begin, I would like for everyone to subscribe to Mel K on BitChute and YouTube, and myself, and also the Jasara Club. We're both on there as well with Charlie
Yep.
Ward and Pimpy and many others. Um, the links are below in the description. I'm very good, Mel. I came onto another video. I saw the inauguration again, right? Listen to this, right? I saw the inauguration again. I saw something that someone showed on Instagram, and I thought, no, I need to do my own research. I can't just take people's words anymore. So I went on the mainstream media. I can't remember which one it was. They had 10.9 million subscribers on YouTube, so they are definitely mainstream. And I saw Biden being sworn in. Now, as he was being sworn in, there was two different angles. The first angle, you could see a girl that was dressed up bright white right behind Biden. And then when it changed to the other angle, she was disappeared. She disappeared, right? She disappeared, right? And then, and this was a bird's eye view angle, this
Right.
one, right? So you could see everything. No one was covering her. And then it went back to that other angle, and then she was there again.
Because
Honestly, and
it was
this,
a Hollywood production. They make mistakes sometimes. They forget to put. You can go through movies. I have a whole list of movies where they make mistakes. That's called a mistake.
that's called a mistake, and that's not live. That's not called a live recording.
No, that's called edited. Yes, edited. Yeah.
That is Castle Productions. What do you want to call it?
Castle Rock.
Castle Rock. That's
It
right.
might connect because, we can't really prove it, but, one of the partners in Castle Rock is Rob Reiner, who has been a very loud Trump hater, spread lots of toxic stuff over the last 4 years, kind of out of control. I think he's in the cabal in Hollywood trying to stop the disclosure of their crimes. And that's really what it's fueled it. And the reason they say Castle Rock is because Warner Brothers has a mock-up of the Capitol because of West Wing. And it's funny because I had worked on Madam Secretary, and I've been in a fake White House, and I've been in an exact replica of the Oval Office multiple times, and it was better than the Oval Office he was signing stuff in.
Wow. So it was really
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
So what do
So
you
it's
think?
looking like. I mean, we keep saying we're watching a movie, and we keep getting beat up by the mainstream media and everyone else. But just so many anomalies are coming that you can't really just out and out say we're wrong. There's too many things.
Yeah, there is. You know what I think we should do for the listeners who are listening, Mel? I think we should, since the inauguration, there's been many, many nuggets of information that we need to address the
Okay.
American people, in fact, the world who is watching this. Now, we've got um what came out on the 22nd of January, just the other day, about the Patriot Party. Did you see
Right.
that?
Well, that came out, but apparently Trump nixed the idea, even though it started, truly because people don't realize what's going on, I think. And, everyone should do their own research. But my take, and from what I'm hearing, is that right now we're running this faux government with Biden and these insane executive orders that are like communist China invasion. The executive orders are so outrageous, and I'll get to that in 1 second. But the other side is he did. I have a lot of evidence. I know Charlie and you do too. The Insurrection Act was called. The foreign interference is proven, and the military right now is in control. And what they're doing to the masses is the ultimate gaslighting of on just such a level that we've really never seen other than the COVID. So, they both go together. But to me, it's just we're watching the military. They're taking their time. That's why none of us can really give dates and stuff because the military would never signal their dates. But it is a fact that they haven't let Biden into the Pentagon. First of all, he's not been able to access. And then number two, he's clearly not living at the White House. So we got that. And Kamala's not living in the vice president house.
Mm-hmm.
And then, then there's the anomalies with him flying private plane, which would never happen. And so basically they're going through these steps, and it's truly what's sad is that so many people are stuck in the fog that they can't really accept what they're seeing. It's like people have gotten to a point where they're not trusting their own gut and their own eyes and their own ears. But it's slowly waking people up. But what we're watching is the two presidents. I don't know, even though I can't say what about it, but that Kim Clement, who made a lot of prophecies about this, kind of foresaw this happening, the big theft of the election. And they're still pushing this impeachment when we know that there's plenty of evidence that Antifa, backed by this lawyers, what's it called, Democratic Lawyers Guild, set up the riot days before, and Pelosi and Schumer and McConnell all knew about it. So, we're really watching such a corrupt media gaslight our people, and it's starting to come to a head. So, what can we do right now except for keep praying, keep the faith, not let other people distract us. Remember why we're doing this. God, faith, country, freedom for now and for the future of the world. Because as you know, the UN is basically being run by China, but it's still the Rockefeller One World Order cabal headquarters in America, basically. And they everything that Biden's doing is being dictated by the UN. So, I think we're red pilling people really quick with his ridiculous amount of executive orders in the first 3 days that are, they're one by one by one. This is totalitarianism. Yeah. Now, maybe the people that are not getting it don't know the history of communism, and that all communist leaders basically were Luciferian, one world order types, and also that they don't teach it anymore. That when Obama redid all the books for K through 12, they left out Mao, Stalin, the Holocaust. They're not in our books for our kids anymore. Also ushered in by Common Core, which is Bill Gates. So as we always discuss, it's always these same people. The problem is they have their puppet in the White House who's clearly dementia ridden. He's did you see that thing when he said, salute the Marines? When he was walking up the stairs and he's walking past the Marines, somebody in his ear said, salute the Marines. And he said it out loud. Oh my God. I mean, there's so many. So from there, it's just kind of like they're trying to gaslight us. They're attacking, saying that QAnon or whatever is a cult or a group or whatever. There is no group. It's like saying that Facebook is a cult. It's a people that don't know anything think that there's a group. There's no group. If there's a group, I'd like to know where they meet, because I don't know any of them. There
is no group. There's just people that are starting to see the truth and the corruption. So
right.
Now, you mentioned earlier about just a minute ago that they're still trying to impeach the president. Is that correct?
Yes, these lunatics. They're trying to impeach the president really so that he can't run again. But the craziest part is, A, we're under military law. So this is a ridiculous farce. B, we have the proof. They have the proof from the laptops that the riot was planned. It was planned by Antifa, Insurrection USA, and this Democratic Lawyers Guild. And basically, so they're impeaching him for insurrection.
So
when that's really what they're doing. It's so ludicrous. Besides, again, we the people have wasted so much money on these false investigations and false, these witch hunts over and over. It's going to prove out that the impeachment the first time was a total farce and a setup. Every one of those witnesses belongs in prison, especially the ambassador to the Ukraine. But, people have to know, use their common sense. The military of the United States, nor the military of any other country, is going to allow America to become a communist country. It's just not going to happen. So anyone that thinks that Biden has any power, they're in for a rude awakening. And I think even people who voted for Biden, many, are starting to wonder what exactly they did. Because you know what they did? They voted against Trump. their hatred of Trump overshadowed what they were doing. Because my opinion is the 25th Amendment, when Nancy Pelosi went to push that at the very end, is really meant for Joe Biden. And that's what, because the Kamala Harris is a Soros international globalist. So is her husband, is very involved with all that. She has been for a very long time. California politicians are so bought and paid for and blackmailed. They've sold out California to communist China a long, long time ago. And the real goal is to put Kamala in there. But if you remember, when she ran, she couldn't even get 1% of the vote. So talk about we the people. What? Do
you think that they are pursuing the impeachment, not because that they don't want him to run again, but merely because they know what's coming just around the corner?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But this is what they do. These soulless people that, they're in trouble. These people are in a lot of trouble. OK, the fraud has been exposed to the public, and the people are waking up to realize that the District of Columbia is a fraudulent foreign government that has stolen all of our money. And then during Obama completely squandered it, and then stole more of our money with the Iran deal that it turns out was really part of the election fraud. That money for the Iran deal, Charlie and I talked about it, I think almost in May, that Iran deal money went to Switzerland first and was changed into a bunch of different currencies. And the excuse was that the sanctions on Iran, but that's obviously not true. They could have wire transferred it. They didn't need to send it in cash, but they were hiding the money. But the money, a big part of that money went to the embassy in Rome, thus the Vatican, to facilitate the election fraud that just happened. And that was a total sting operation. But, people don't want to believe that they've been deceived. And but it's on such a large scale that it's coming. And, what I'm hearing, too, is we've talked about many times these patents that they've held back from the people. And I'm expecting a disclosure about some of that coming up soon, where where it's put out there. I was doing some research yesterday that with the free energy and the all the different technology that they've hidden from the people, including a lot of cures, all of that'll be a big red pill too. When people realize that it's not a conspiracy theory that big pharma and big tech and all these people have kept us sick on purpose. It's absolutely true. I mean, all you have to do is look at COVID, but we're coming up against that. They are backed against a wall. They're like, rats that are, stuck in a corner, and they're going to bite you and do everything, scratch you and everything. And the worst part is they couldn't care less about the people. They really don't care at all.
I mean, we just look at what they do to the children.
Oh, yeah, of course. We haven't even gotten there yet. And that's going to be a giant, giant wake up call. But right now, we really have to have faith in the military, because there's a lot of conflicting stuff coming out about the military. But we have to always understand with all of our countries, not just the US, that there's two factions. There's two factions. And the faction that you're hearing about with these traitors, these military industrial complex warmongers, I mean, one of the first things Biden did was send troops back into Syria, where we never belonged to begin with, which is really a CIA operation who's getting destroyed. The CIA is getting decimated as we speak. But, right now, the military that we're not hearing about are the ones that are in control. We've also not heard from General Flynn, who's been a real, a leader and a hero for the truth movement. And I think that's a good thing. I think his silence is deafening, just like Trump's silence is driving them crazy. The mainstream media don't even know what to do without his, it's very scary for a lot of them. I know we talked about last time, and you and Charlie discussed the raid on the CIA. I mean, the amount of evidence they have is so overwhelming. And we're not even talking about the Epstein case yet. We're not talking about Uranium One. We're not talking about Benghazi. It's just, there's so much. So they're cornered, and they know it. And I think that they planned a false flag on the 20th. And because nobody showed up, no Trump supporters, they couldn't pull it off, because the false flag that I believe they were planning would have then been blamed on us too. And you can see, I mean, what's going on with the calling the true patriots, the people that believe in our country and our Constitution, are now being called domestic terrorists by the true domestic terrorists. But I think that the fact that these people are so compromised that they're keeping this farce going. I don't know how long it can go, but the military is going to step in. They're already in control. But I mean, for the public, what I'm hearing, what I'm getting out of this is that the military is waiting till they, not from polls that we know are BS or on CNN or whatever. They're waiting for the polls to accurately have 70% backing of removing Biden, where Biden this is what I think is going on right now, is that all of these executive orders are waking up those who aren't awake yet. He's letting all of the people in ICE detention out. The people in ICE detention are the worst of the worst criminals that we hear about constantly. Mm-hmm. ICE isn't picking up, innocent people that, are overstaying their visas or whatever. Those people have a path, but they're letting out the real criminals on the streets, 13,000 already. He's opening the border completely, and Mexico's pushing back and saying, no, you're not. Mexico's pissed. He ends the pipeline. Canada's pissed. It's every day something else. Russia's pissed because of, he's now sending troops back into action where they don't belong. It's just, I have to think that maybe Biden's being controlled by the White Hats, by the alliance, because what he's doing is so off the charts against everything that America stands for real. They twist it around and say everything Trump did, because now he's instituting bans, not on Muslim nations, or which it was never a Muslim ban, but there's certain nations that they don't vet their citizens. And that was really what it was about. But now he's putting bans on places in Europe and South Africa. And people are like, so bans from Trump were bad and racist, but your bans are okay. And it makes no sense. It makes no sense.
So, you're saying that, it's going to wake a lot of people up, the executive orders that he's signing, because they're reversing a lot of the things that Trump has done.
Right.
So
yeah, and some of them are just outlandish. Like they made insulin like $29. It used to be $400. He reversed that. So today, people that have diabetes now are back to paying $400. I mean, like, these things make no sense.
No,
it's
you're
like,
right.
Why would you reverse something that's positive? Or now transgenders, again, can compete against girls, taking away the opportunity for girls to get scholarships to college and play and all that, because we know that the science is that men have different capabilities than women. He reversed a ban about transgender bathrooms for kids in schools. Like, what it just doesn't make any sense.
So what do you think, and how is Marjorie Greene's impeachment towards Biden progressing?
Well, I don't know how it's progressing, because I'm understanding that Congress has been dismissed. So I'm not sure what's really going on. There's word out there that Congress has been told to has been dismissed until January 21st. I mean, not January 21st. I think maybe February, but that it was dismissed, I think, for 20 days. I don't know if that's real or not, but if it is, that has a lot to do with the military being involved, because that's part of what they would do. But her thing is great. I mean, it's bottom line. It's pointing out that he's corrupt. He's taken bribes from many different countries, including China, Ukraine, and Russia. He's not mentally fit. Everyone said so. Above and beyond that, he's sold out our country in terms of giving the CCP access to our military, to companies that they shouldn't be involved in. And basically everything that she put in her impeachment, which is a really good document, everyone should check out, are the facts that were hidden during the election. During the election, they were hiding all the negative information. But honestly, if you saw Biden over the last 47 years, the person that's running the faux White House right now is not him. It's just not. Either it's him that's a different capacity, like that he's gone, or he's being absolutely controlled by God knows who. I think the UN and the CCP. But because this is not Joe Biden. It's just not. If you watched him over the years, so anyone that's still standing by him, God bless him. But I'm more for looking at the facts and the truth. There's just too many anomalies to say that what we're seeing is real.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely not Joe Biden. I mean, I've been watching this in the last few days to the very fine details, and if you look at Joe Biden, and I'm talking to the listeners as well, and if you look at Joe Biden 2015 and before, it's the ear is so like his ears are like that. The earlobe is completely detached from his face, and then this Joe Biden is like that. And also, I've noticed that the face is slightly wider. It's more square, his face. And
Right.
and if you look into his eyes, they're a lot more evil. Whereas
Right.
this one just looks silly and stupid, and he's just looks
Right.
like a comedian, right? Do you get that
Right.
too?
That is what it looks like. It's diminished. Either he's a double, I don't know what, but he is not Joe Biden, at least not the Joe Biden that was in our face for 45 years, and already lost 3 times. He's been caught plagiarizing, lying, being overtly racist, all this stuff. And yet, people, I guess they just didn't like Trump's personality because when you talk to people or they believe the lies or they're addicted to CNN or MSNBC. But when you talk to people and you ask what policies or what priorities did he enact that people don't agree with, and nobody has an answer. Just don't.
You said
So
that he's
sad.
you said that he's not controlling the White House. The other day, we saw a blackout in the White House. All the lights went off. What was that about?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, people were saying that it wasn't true, but I saw footage of it. The lights went out around the Lincoln Memorial. So, and they're saying that there's nobody there, that the Bidens aren't at the White House. So, it's unclear at this point. But I was down there, and they built some kind of facility, and there's that barbed wire there, and they're keeping the troops through March. So, all of that tells you, if you connect the dots, that there's another operation going on that they're trying to hide with this pantomime that is this Joe Biden show. The Joe Biden show.
Some people argue, well, if the military are really in control, then why were they sleeping in the car park? Would you say that maybe since it's a military operation, the military are also in on the act to make Biden look?
Maybe because people don't know that's actually in the Geneva Convention, as it's illegal according to the Geneva Convention of War that they were put there, that they didn't have adequate blankets and food and heat and all of that. It's against the Geneva Convention, so it wasn't just that they sent them to the parking garage; it was that they violated international law of war, and how you're supposed to treat soldiers. So, yeah, I mean, that's what I honestly believe, that what's going on right now, as painful as it is to watch, is the ultimate mirror. Look at what you voted for. Is this what you want for America? Because he's not he's a traitor. They all know he's a traitor. The military is never, ever giving him power. And people still are holding on to this. And, we're not even allowed to question it. I can't believe how communist our country's gotten, mainly big tech and media, and then the Democrats, and some Republicans. We're not even allowed to question it. What kind of place are we living in? That, obvious election fraud is we're being told you can't say that. And if you do say that, you risk being canceled or thrown in jail, or it's completely out of control. But I think the military is in control. And this is really the ultimate red pill for those who only looked at Donald Trump and getting rid of Donald Trump and for their own, deranged reasons or whatever, because he did win in a landslide. And people are lying, saying that that all the court cases were kicked out. No, the court cases, there's still 30 active. But the truth is that our IG filed for an investigation into the DOJ for people that interfered in the election. And we're going to see that none of the courts that got these even looked at the evidence, even though they had to have at home on TV. We all saw it. But, so that something's going on there. This is, I mean, it's not over, but the foreign election interference EO was activated. So they know that there's 6 countries, and I saw 20 American citizens involved in the election fraud. So that's another thing. They're protecting each other. And I think that, people are getting to the point, real hardcore liberals are looking at you like, I don't know what's going on. It's like how irresponsible, but America's strong and resilient. And, we're going to restore the republic. And I have 100% faith in that. But in the meantime, people like us, me, you, and all of our awesome friends at the Jassara Club are getting attacked and maligned. But on the flip side, it's going to be better because, we stayed true and we kept soldiering on and putting the information out there because there's a lot to come. And the other thing that I've been looking at is a lot of this is about going back to the gold standard because everyone who tried it was assassinated, okay, or attempted. And now we have 200 countries that joined Trump in the financial reset to gold standard. So the rest of the world's ready. We're ready. And this is also about that. The Rothschild banking cabal, the international central bankers, they're holding on for dear life and they're losing. And they're playing with they have all the money. They run tech, they run media, they run many politicians and celebrities through blackmail and other things. And they're playing a giant game with the people. And when the people finally do start seeing some evidence, like they said, they won't be able to walk down the street.
Why is it traditionally a big deal that Biden never flew with Air Force One on the day of the inauguration?
Oh, because that's protocol that the new president is picked up by Air Force One, flown to the inauguration, and then moves into the White House. Neither happened, So again, that he flew private was very, very bizarre. Because if he really was the president, he'd be entitled to all the military and civilian and Secret Service and all the support that any president was, but he wasn't. And another thing that strikes me about the inauguration, regardless of COVID, which we know the people that run the world know now that it's a bad cold and the virus was the goal. I mean, the vaccine is the goal, but there were no world leaders. There were not one world leader was there. And then number two, there's a lot of usual suspects in the Democratic Party who weren't there. Where was Nadler and Schiff and John Podesta? There were people there that are way higher up than the people that were on stage that are long-term Democrats that have been in our faces for 4 years fighting Trump that weren't there. Nobody can explain that either. So the cast of characters was very bizarre. If you look at the Democratic Party power, it wasn't a lot of them.
So where do you think they are? Are you suggesting they're at Gizmo?
I hope so. That is my thinking. Yeah.
And how about the ones that were at the inauguration? I mean, were they actors or do you believe that there are deep state people who are actually still alive or waiting to be arrested?
It's hard to say. I don't know if they were playing a role, but, there were certain things like Lady Gaga dressed as Hunger Games was no accident, and the fact that, I've been calling it the Epstein Island spirit cooking reunion show put on by E, because it was like all of these people we know were Epstein Island regulars that were chosen to be there. And, and I'm thinking, are the White Hats behind this? And are they pointing us at these people for the people that don't know? Because the bizarre choice of those people when the allegations of Epstein Island are out there and well known, not to mention all the stuff about Tom Hanks and Tegan and her husband. And, they're caught up in that mess. It just doesn't make sense that they would then put him on a pedestal. I was like, either Satan's laughing at us or they're being exposed in a way to our subconscious to be like, look here, like Katy Perry, like all those people went to Epstein Island on those specific flight logs that are from certain weekends that they can't say they weren't complicit in crimes. So, that was a big to me. Are they, I don't know what they are. I do know that, they have many options for that. A lot of people say that some of that was CGI. I did see some pictures of, from above. There was a guy where the press was really far away. Where they had the press was far away on a roof. And when you hear the press guys, one guy put out a thing talking, they're all saying like, this is the most bizarre thing. Like there was only about 100 people. And like I said, there were people missing that are very high up in the Democratic Party. It didn't make sense. No world leaders. And yeah, we're watching a show. I can't. Also, Hillary Clinton apparently shrunk. She was
by a head. By a head. Yeah, not by age.
Right. No, that's not osteoporosis. That's a full-on shrinking. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. And Michael looked a lot more like a Michael than normal. So I'm not sure what's going on. I just think we're watching a movie, and I'm not sure who's behind it, because it's going on a little longer than we would like. But that's by design.
But it makes sense that Trump has to step back, not step down, but step back, so that the people who are asleep think, he's out of the picture. Biden's now president. He will be corrupting a few things. They will give him a bit of time to prove how corrupt he is. The military will then take him out. At this point, people think Trump is way out of the picture, and then that's how they will believe it. And then I don't understand, or I don't know how, and I know it's very clever, but how is Trump going to come back?
Well, here's the thing. If we're correct, and the Insurrection Act was called, and the executive order was kicked in, and Trump handed over the reins to FEMA, who has FEMA doesn't have to go through Congress or Senate or the president. FEMA at this point is fully in power, and they can arrest people and all of that. But Trump isn't going to come back as the head CEO, president of the corporation. The corporation's gone. Also, if we're correct about the Trump-Sara, there has to be a new election, which Trump will obviously win in a landslide. But also, when a president calls the Insurrection Act, they remain president, like de facto president, until all the perpetrators are arrested. So, because that happened also with Lincoln. So that's the thing. He's not being removed as president until the operation of insurrection is completed.
Right.
And that's what I was told, that's the case. And, the truth is they know Trump won. They all know. So I would be so scared if I was them that they haven't heard from him or Flynn. And, the best voices out there, are the people that are taking the biggest hits, Dominion suing Rudy, suing Sidney Powell. And don't forget, Dominion is owned by Soros and that Moloch Brown guy and a whole bunch of nefarious characters. And they're doing these lawsuits again. They have all the money in the world to do so. So they're suing these people and demonizing them. And it's truly the opposite. I mean, these people are straight up inversion, Luciferian sociopaths. And, they're going after the good people and, highlighting and uplifting the criminals. And it's only a matter of time before it tilts all the way over. Like I said, my thinking is that the military is waiting for public opinion to catch up so that when they do go in. But yes, Trump being out of the picture was part of it. But also it's good for optics for the people that have Trump derangement syndrome, and just seeing him makes them crazy. It's so shocking to me, because I know them personally and I know who he is, but that the people that hate him, the extent to which the media has truly done a number on this man's character and everything, that people chose to vote for a senile traitor over, somebody who's actually doing a lot for the people. This country is supposed to be ruled by the people, for the people. They work for us. Well, since the corporation, it's not been that way. And when people on a larger scale figure out, many people are still asleep to the fact that the Fed is owned by the central bank, which is owned by the Bank of International Settlements in Switzerland and the City of London and the Vatican. People still don't even get it. And when they realize that all their taxpayer dollars, the IRS works for the private Federal Reserve Bank, and the IRS has destroyed in America so many lives. Vicious, horrible. They go after people, they tear them apart, destroy their lives, put them in prison. The truth is, all of the taxes that we've been paying have been fraud, so you can't go back and fix all the damage, but you can expose it. and bring some justice. And that's what I'm hoping for.
So I believe this only makes logical sense for me that things like, the abolishment of the IRS and the wealth transfer and the, currency level playing fields. I would think that these things would occur as soon as Trump comes back in to show the people this is how corrupt they were. Here are the testimonies, and here is the Jubilee.
Right. I agree with that. Yeah. And the big thing is that the people on the left and a lot of the media mongers and also people who might not believe this or aren't doing the research, they're all talking about our debt and our debt and our debt. We've seized so much from the multiple executive orders already. And it's not just us. There's an alliance of many nations that are all involved and have been this whole time working with Trump. And there is going to be no, the people are worried about their money and Social Security. And then you'll find out that a lot of the pensions are gone, blah, blah, blah. But we have the money to replace it. It's just going to be in a different system. So that's just another right now path that they're taking of fear mongering, when you and I luckily know and have been told many times that this financial reset system, the positive one, not the demonic great reset, those psychos are still pushing in Davos, but I shouldn't call them psychos, I guess, but they are. We're prepared for that. Once Mnuchin swallowed the Fed into the Treasury, as I've told people, it was the first time ever that we could audit the Fed. And I hear the amount of fraud is in the quadrillions, stolen money from we the people and our tax dollars. And, it's pretty horrific what's happened here. They can also trace back the stock market crash, the 2008 bust, all of this to them manipulating the money and destroying our lives for their own gain. And then, you come to the COVID, which things are trickling out about the COVID, that it's all involved. And as the back channel said many times, is this about a virus or is this about an election? People have to be asking themselves right now. So all this time, this is going on 3 days after faux Biden wins, Pfizer announces they have a vaccine. Now, 3 days after the inauguration, Chicago, Detroit, California, New York, they're all opening. It's just so in your face. The WHO right away, right after the inauguration, says that the PCR test isn't supposed to be used for this. So the whole case-demic, because that's what it became, is a fraud. And then on top of that, the CDC is saying that they some glitch magnified the numbers of the deaths, as we knew. And then there's no flu death basically this year. And then on top of that, Russia put out something yesterday, because I take a look at all different papers all over the world, saying what I've been saying and you've been saying, which is the global death rate for 2020 is almost identical to 2018, 2019, 2017. So, there was no pandemic if the global death rate isn't way higher.
Yeah.
So I just think that that's another red pill wake up call people still don't want to look at, because there was a virus and it was created in that lab and it was released. But I also believe that it was released in conjunction with some of the Democrats knowing, and that it was about depressing our economy, making us sick, desperate, and angry, and pushing their agenda and blaming Trump. And, if that pans out, I heard Nunes talking about it. Some of the true heroes we have left in the government have been talking about everything that's coming out, the anomalies connected to COVID. And, if it comes out that this was part of their plan, which I believe it was, going back to Event 201 or the Rockefeller Project Lockstep to the One World Order, it's just the people are just going to be, there's just going to be no going back, which is good. We don't want to go back. We want this freedom. But, it's going to be a painful little period of time. And what concerns me and what I want to say to you and to everyone that's watching, don't be baited into going into the streets and fighting or protesting or any of that if you are a patriot and love this country, because they're letting people out of jail. They're letting in illegal immigrants. They have these community organizations like the Weather Underground never went away, or Acorn. Obama, he has like a little army of his group and all that. they do arm and support Antifa and Black Lives Matter. It's not a grassroots operation. It never has been. And I think that like all patriots and conservatives and libertarians, anyone that loves America and wants our freedom and wants our republic restored and sovereignty kept, really should not go out, because they're just going to use it for optics and turn it on us like they did on January 6th. So as much as people will want to do that, we have to leave it to the military right now and not engage, because engaging with them will just be used against us. And we don't want to give them any more ammunition. So I've been saying to people, no matter what happens, do not go out and protest or fight back or whatever. Right now, just stand your ground, stay inside your house, whatever you have to do, and leave it to the military. Because Antifa and Black Lives Matter, the jig is up. We know where their money came from. A lot of it traces back to George Soros' son and this bizarre Democrat lawyer guild. And, and it's going to implode on them. But we got to take notes from January 6th and not be stupid. This isn't our fight. This is the military's fight, and they'll take care of it. And they're on our side. Like I told people when I was in D.C. and I was talking to some of the National Guard, they made it very clear that they're there to protect the Constitution and to protect we the people, not to protect the people inside those gates. So, I think we're in good shape in terms of that. It's just like a waking up period. And while people are still asleep, they're attacking the messengers. And that's okay, because on the other side, people will be seeking me and you and all of our awesome patriot friends and freedom lovers and God lovers out, because the healing process, we're so far ahead, but it's going to be rough for people, and it's sad because they really fed us a diet of celebrity and materialism and all this nonsense all of this time. And, that's going to be a big blow to people too, even more than anything else. But, I'm excited because I do believe that it's coming. I also, I'm babbling on, but I have one more thing that's pretty interesting.
Tell me, please.
I love talking to you because you let me talk.
Go for it. I like listening.
Yeah, but you're a great interviewer. You really are. We'll see what happens on the other side, but you got a big future in being like a Larry King interviewer for all over the world or something. You're really good. You are. But so I saw some documents. I sent them over to some other people to see what they think. They look pretty legit to me. And most people don't know, I believe it to be true, that George H.W. Bush, before he left this planet, was served with a massive indictment on a lot of crimes. I read the entire thing. It is like there's no way this is fake. But so I read it, and it aligns with the back channel that what really happened to H.W. Bush is he confessed to a lot of crimes, from JFK Sr.'s murder to today. 9/11, a lot of things, the child trafficking, the secret society, Luciferian stuff, a lot of it to save his own family. But that will come out in time. But I've read this indictment, and it's horrific. Like I said, the CIA, communism in America, has always had one goal, and that was to work for the One World Order, UN, Rockefeller, Rothschild cabal. And they've done it. And I guess America got complacent and thought it would never happen here, and it did, because they've done this all over the world. And but George H.W. Bush will probably end up being one of the biggest criminals that we ever had in this country. And it's the level of criminality and treason and crimes against humanity, crimes against children. It's off the charts what this documentation says. And plenty of people have seen that they claim that even though he was old, people say he was old, he died 93. It doesn't matter. What matters is that when Trump got in there, everything was unsealed. They got to look at everything. And I believe that he was the biggest fish that they fried. And then we all saw his funeral, not we all, but not the rest of the world, which red pilled my parents, because I showed them all getting the envelopes at the HW funeral. But mainstream media never showed that. And that should have been a big deal. And Trump orchestrated that so that the cameras caught the reactions. Mm-hmm. So if you look back and you juxtapose that with what I just read, which is apparently the indictment that was unsealed for him, as the first one to really turn and confess to a lot of crimes, then, we've been watching a movie the whole time.
Wow, it's amazing. Yeah, there's so many bits and pieces to put together, and we can't forget about these facts and evidence and just let the emotions get in the way. There's just so much, you know, that suggests that we have many reasons for hope.
Right. That's the one thing. There's plenty, because we do know about certain crimes. We do know about certain evidence. We know that I don't know what he's doing, but there's got to be a plan behind the Durham guy. And like I keep reminding people, the guy that came in to replace Barr as the acting AG, Rosen, he is the one who wrote the report on the cheating in 2016, because they cheated in 2016, but just not big enough for Hillary to win because she's so despised. But they underestimated Trump. But he wrote the report that led to Trump writing the executive order. And now he's the AG. So he's been investigating this fraud, this criminality in the election system for 4 years. And then the other guy that's below him, Donahue, he's the one who did the Nexium case, El Chapo case, and Huawei cases. Mm-hmm. So he's on top of it, too, because the El Chapo case and the Nexium case connect to the Epstein case, which connect to the Clinton Foundation and the international trafficking cases. So these two guys they're not new. They've both been on these cases a very long time, and they're all going to connect. And then, we still haven't even ever talked about Uranium One, which is a giant act of treason against America. So, we know that there's a lot of evidence. We know that Trump did put in a lot of judges that, will be true to the Constitution, unlike the liberal judges. Also, DC judges have been totally rogue the whole time. So when you look at any of the FISA warrants that are phony, anything like what happened to Roger Stone, what happened with anyone that went to court in General Flynn, all of that, those judges are rogue. They're judges working for the corporation. So, all of that is just a swamp mess beyond what I think anyone could have ever imagined. But, for people like us, we have to keep the faith, because I believe in the military. But like you said, there's so much evidence of so many crimes that have yet to be punished that it doesn't make any sense. It can't be. Just can't be.
So what do you think we shall see now in the next 10 days, maybe beginning of February? What do you think? What have
my feeling is right now they're letting this play out to wake the people up that were so blinded by their dislike of the man, Donald Trump, that they voted for this communist puppet who's clearly not in control, who is dismantling the Constitution and our country in such a way that everything that he's doing is leading towards, Nazi Germany out in our faces. And, we know it's the same ilk at the very top that did that too. So I just think that there's a period of just watching this play out to the point where it's like ludicrous. People, I mean, like I said, what I heard was that the military was going to wait until they felt like they had 70% of Americans backing them to go in and do the operation. That makes sense, just because we don't want, people fighting back on a mass scale that are loyal to the communists, because they're here, obviously, and they do have these factions of Antifa and Black Lives Matter that are organized militias, and we need to be careful. So I think there needs to be a tipping point of public support to remove Biden. I mean, he's a faux president. He's not the president. It doesn't matter what anyone says. Inauguration means nothing. They all committed high treason because we're in the middle of wartime, because they never ended the war on terror, because that's how they spy on us, So then they never ended the war on terror. And then all 50 states declared an emergency because of COVID. So that gave Trump even more power. Now we're in the Insurrection Act, was called before the fake inauguration. So every single person that voted for Biden, they knew that it's phony. And they all committed high treason, because high treason is wartime. When you're in wartime and you commit treason, it goes to the next level. And also, a lot of people don't know that military tribunals, which is what FEMA will deal with, and the military, they last a day. They don't, like people are thinking, oh, we're going to have like years of trials and juries and no, military tribunals can last 1-2 days and that's it.
Right. That's good. We need
So,
to know the truth. We need those confessions. People need to
right.
see.
Right. And a lot of people forget one thing that I've talked about a lot, and I think people don't know. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, who they claim is behind 9/11, but we have a lot of evidence that that's not really the case. He's in Gitmo, and he's been this whole time. He was supposed to be tried in January, and he knows everything about 9/11, and that's going to be a real wake up call as well. Because from what I saw, those documents, I can't believe, I could not imagine that anyone would write them if they're not true. I mean, it's this thick of an indictment on George H.W. Bush. But, he's there too. And he's a giant witness against what happened on 9/11. And also that bin Laden was a CIA agent. There's just so much that hasn't come out yet that it's like, I mean, they put their puppet in, but maybe that's just part of the plan.
There's just so much. It's almost everything is a lie, and you'll be lucky to find anything that hasn't been tampered with.
Oh yeah, I'm done with Google. We also found out yesterday. Somebody broke the story. I think National File that the FBI has been turning over stuff on all of us the FBI. The Facebook has been turning over our private data when requested, by the FBI for years. And they say, oh, it's in their disclosure. That's not true. It's not in their disclosure. And, apparently that the rogue FBI, these, they're all infiltrated, and people have to understand they're not infiltrated for any other reason except for they're guilty of their own crimes. Mueller is a criminal. He did a lot of horrible stuff. Comey, Brennan is a Muslim Brotherhood, a devotee who ran the CIA against the American people. And he's the one out there calling for the rounding up of patriots, of good people that love God and country, and demonizing them when he also voted communist and is an avowed communist. So all the guys that have run the CIA, pretty much. And so what we're dealing with now is, I guess, just the slow disclosure to wake people up so that there's not mass hysteria. But I believe, like I'm saying, by the time that they do the operation, most of America will be begging for Donald Trump to come back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know exactly what you mean. Maybe we have to go through, certain things for that to happen, to wake people up to see the show.
Right, exactly. And not blame Trump. Because as long as you're stuck on blaming Trump and not seeing the real criminals, and that you as an American citizen are a victim of these people. This has nothing to do with them. This has to do with you. And it has to do with hiding cures that they've had all this time, including what they did with hydrochloroquine. And, and it has to do with the debt slavery that we've been in, thinking we're paying our taxes to help our country. And not $1 of our taxes has gone to anything but interest paid to the Rothschild Bank. There's all these things. And that the District of Columbia is a foreign entity owned by the Vatican. So all of this stuff needs to come out, but it's going to, because it's true. Mm-hmm. And the mainstream media and these people, they can continue to attack us and go after a board, a web page, like it's a person or a group, and they can continue to do that. But you know what? It's out there. And as long as you and I and our group and people like us don't bow to the intimidation. I mean, I'm banned for a week on YouTube. Because I did a show with Alpa and we were just laughing about all this, how crazy it was. And then all of a sudden I thought, what are they banning me for that for a week? But, so you just keep fighting. And we've all been fighting and just getting back up.
I was banned on Facebook. And they didn't give me a reason.
Your channel was so great. I loved it. You were putting out the best stuff. But you know what? Every time that I put something up on YouTube, I'm like, this might be the one.
Yeah. Do you know what? Go for it. At least you got your BitChute that everyone can go over and subscribe to over there.
Oh, and I started with the help of some of our pals. I started themelkshow.com. So people can send me direct messages, and I like tips. And always, if I'm wrong, I want people to tell me and show me where I'm wrong in the evidence, because I'll be happy to come out and correct myself. I'm a researcher, and I really want to find the truth. I don't talk about the things that are, I'd like to talk about some of the crazy stuff, but until I see some evidence, I try not to. But for what I am talking about, I like interacting with people. I know you do too. So for me, it's just like, okay, next.
Yeah, absolutely. You're a researcher, and we're looking for truth. And if someone can prove that you and I or whoever is wrong, fantastic. That's a bonus. We want to know.
Right.
We're looking for the truth.
Exactly.
So it's great.
Right. We're not the mainstream media who says if you don't agree with us, you don't deserve a voice. If you don't agree with me or have something that can help me be more correct, awesome.
Great. But Mel, it's been lovely speaking with you again, like
always.
it is always.
I'm always so happy to see your face.
I'm happy to see your face too.
And I'll see you next week.
You too. I'll see you very soon.
Who knows what could happen?
Who knows? Who knows? We'll have more to speak about next week. Who knows exactly?
We sure will.
Well, God bless.
Thank you so much. You're the best.
You're the best too. Take care. God bless.
Talk to you soon. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.